Welcome, dear listeners, to another spine-chilling episode. Tonight, we delve deep into the eerie abyss with our tale, A Crack in the Road. It was a night darker than the heart of the coal mines that once marred the landscape of County Durham. Under the watchful eyes of the moon, the only source of illumination on the winding road from Ebchester to Shotley Bridge, a couple, Gavin and Joanne, made their way back home. Laughter filled their car, their joy creating a stark contrast against the oppressive darkness that clung to the valleys and hillsides like a malignant shadow. Suddenly, their jovial conversation was interrupted by a jarring thud as the car hit an unseen crack in the road, instantly deflating their tire. The abruptness of it made their hearts skip a beat. A silent tension replaced their previous mirth as the car came to a sputtering halt, its back end ominously near the crack. Gavin, armed with a torchlight and a grim determination, stepped out to replace the wheel. However, no sooner had he knelt down than the ground beneath him gave away, swallowing him into a yawning chasm. A strangled cry escaped his lips before being abruptly cut off, echoing hauntingly in the empty night. Inside the car, Joanne was frozen, her mind unable to process the horrifying scene. His sudden absence left a void more substantial than the pit that had swallowed him. Shaking off her initial shock, she stumbled out of the car, her heart pounding with dread. As she peered into the opening, her worst fears were confirmed. All she could see was an unfathomable darkness. Her throat felt raw as she screamed his name into the pit, the sound of her despair reverberating off the unseen walls of the abyss. From below, a weak reply floated up, filled with agony. "Joe, I'm down here. I think my leg is broken," Gavin managed to get out. His voice was so frail that it sent shivers down her spine. Wasting no time, she dialed the local police, her fingers trembling on the touchscreen. "My boyfriend fell down a hole. A mine shaft. I think he's in real trouble. He needs help," she blurted out to the startled operator. As the minutes crawled by, each one colder and darker than the last, Joanne was left alone with her fear and the gaping maw in the earth. The silence was shattered again by the echo of multiple voices, whispers winding their way up the shaft, like serpents slithering out of the darkness. "A fallen man, a fresh face among the forgotten. What shall we do with him?" the voices mused, their tone teetering between malicious glee and ancient sorrow. The blood drained from Joanne's face as she called down, "Gavin, there's something else down there." All that responded was the chilling echo of the voices, whispering their malevolent intentions, their words dissolving into an indecipherable murmur that hung heavily in the air. "Soon, he will join us." And in this isolated road, with no passing cars to aid them, Joanne and Gavin were left to face the terror below the cracked road alone. As Joanne's words dissipated into the chilling silence, an agonizing weight ensued. She strained her ears, praying for Gavin's voice to cut through the mounting terror. Suddenly he responded, "Joe, I'm not alone. I hear voices, they're talking about me." His voice trailed off, replaced again by the chilling whispers, growing in volume and fervor. "He's close. Soon, he will be one of us." The voices reveled in some twisted anticipation, their words like icy tendrils snaking through the air. Fighting back the tears, Joanne called down, her voice a desperate plea echoing in the abyss. "Gavin! Try to find something, anything! You need to climb up!" Time seemed to distort, stretching on indefinitely. Then, Gavin's voice echoed up once more, faint but defiant. "Found a ladder. It's old, but it should hold. I'll try to climb out." A new hope flickered in Joanne's heart, but it was as fleeting as a candle in a tempest. The whispers crescendoed into a terrible chorus, followed by a gut-wrenching scream from Gavin, cut abruptly short. Joanne's name echoed around the pit one last time before dissolving into silence. Joanne screamed his name into the void, her voice now just a hollow echo against the quietude of the night. She leaned over the edge of the abyss, the cold wind whipping her hair around her face as she sought any sign of Gavin. Then out of the darkness, a hand shot up. Without thinking, Joanne lunged forward, grasping it tightly, but the moment her fingers curled around it, she recoiled. It was not Gavin's hand. It was cold, skeletal, and sent a jolt of fear through her. She tried to release it, but the grip was iron strong. With a chilling laugh echoing up from the pit, Joanne was dragged down into the black void. Her final scream hung in the air before being swallowed by the unforgiving darkness. When the local police arrived, prompted by the earlier frantic call, they found only an abandoned car, a blown tire, and an innocent-looking crack in the road. The gaping hole, the young couple, all had vanished without a trace. A hushed silence clung to the site, and the crack in the road remained, a silent testament to the horrifying event. As the investigation unfolded, no evidence was found to support Joanne's claims. There was no mineshaft, no signs of a hole, no voices in the night. The case was eventually filed under unexplained disappearances, leaving an air of unease hanging over the road from Ebchester to Shotley Bridge. Some years later, on another inky black night, a group of teenagers found themselves walking back to Shotley Bridge from Ebchester after a late-night hangout. As they sauntered along, their laughter echoed in the silent night, their youthful bravado shattering the eerie tranquility. Suddenly, their merriment was cut short when they stumbled upon an ominous hole in the road, a crack that seemed to yawn open like the jaws of a monstrous beast. As they peered cautiously into the darkness, a chilling whisper crawled its way up the pit, sending shivers crawling up their spines. It was a woman's voice, faint but unmistakable, crying out for help. The teenagers recoiled in horror as the icy wind seemed to carry with it the echoes of the whispers they had heard in ghost stories, of the couple who vanished into a similar hole years ago. A gust of wind swept across them, carrying with it the distant echo of a haunting laugh, and the woman's voice began to change, from a plea for help to a sinister lure, promising to share with them the terrifying secrets of the dark abyss. But that's a tale for another day, a tale of shadows whispering in the darkness, luring the unwary to their doom, a tale that will surely send shivers down your spine and make you question every crack you see in the road. Stay tuned, dear listeners, as we continue to unravel the chilling mysteries. Until then, keep your eyes on the road and never stray into the darkness. Hey, while you're here, why not click that subscribe button and like the video? We really do appreciate you taking your time to listen to our tales. Until next time,